what were some of those hardships in your journey, and how did you overcome them?
I think the greatest hardship was actually getting into the industry. It took me over 15 years, really, and I don't think it would have taken as long if I really just pushed myself a little bit harder. There were a lot of setbacks, there were a lot of disappointments, there were a lot of excuses, um, and it got to a point where like I kind of just gave up. And I moved to Korea, and taught English for 2 years. But I I'm fortunate that that itch to write never really went away. So um, after about 2 years of teaching, like I just missed writing, so I decided to just write for myself, really. And that was the first time in a very long time where there was no other agenda but to just write music for the simple enjoyment of it. And so I got lucky. I had a couple of songs that I've written with another aspiring. Well, he was an aspiring producer back then, and we wanted to get our songs properly recorded, so we rented out like a studio. And fortunately, the owner of the studio was very well established in the K-pop industry, and he heard me singing in the booth. He called me out. He said, "Hey, I have a couple of tracks. Would you like to try top lining over them?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And you know, I- for me, I didn't even think of it as sort of like an opportunity. So I wasn't nervous. I really didn't. Yeah, it just didn't. It just felt like you know something that I could try, and I had nothing to lose. And so I took those tracks home. And that very same night, I finished those songs, recorded it. It was very poorly recorded. Like there was no autotune or anything on it. Like we didn't know anything back then. And I was just like, all right. I sent it over. Didn't think much of it. And then like a week later, I was at work and he calls me and he's like, "Hey, one of your songs got cut." And I was like,
Wow.
I didn't really know exactly what that meant either. It's like cut. Like, what do you mean by that exactly? He's like, "Oh, it's gonna be on an album." And so that was my first cut with SHINEE.
Mm.
Yeah, and then everything just sort of fell
What
into place after that.
what was the title of the song?
Uh, Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm. Um, so I mean, for you, it was sort of like, um, it probably felt like a long shot,
Hmm.
just going in the booth and just like, getting these tracks, recording. Um, I mean, when you found out that your song was cut, not only cut but released, um, by this super, I mean, they're still super, like, a super group to this day, but like back then, I'm sure they were like just monsterly famous, if that is even an
Yeah,
expression.
yeah, they
But
were at their peak during that time.
mhm. So what did that feel like?
It felt surreal. It, yeah. I thought like I thought that he was playing a joke on me or something, or like that it must have been a mistake or something. But like, yeah, it, after a few days, it like it solidified, and I realized that okay, this is for real. Especially after he invited me to the recording session, and I met the members and everything, and yeah, it was one of the, I would say, the best moments of my life, actually.